Alright guys, we're back on the Lee Enfield 303 British. We're going to set up our dies and make a dummy round today. Alright, so in some of my research I have learned a few things. Thought I know quite a bit when I did this project originally, when I set my barrel back and all those things. Learning how to machine on, do the gunsmithing on them. But I've learned more since then, obviously. So one of the things is datum lines that I've learned about in the past years. Datum line on a 303 is not headspace datum. You gotta remember that. A 303 headspaces off the rim. But there is a datum line from the face to a point on the shoulder. That point is 1 inch 832. And on this brass here, I have not sized it yet. It is averaging 822. So it's already 10 thou down. So what I've done is I've opted to not size this brass. Now, I know some people say, oh, you got to resize the brass. Well, we're just going to fire form all this on the first go around, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to write this down. This is they all averaged about 822. You know, some a little more, some a little less, but we're writing all this information down. We're going to fire form it and see exactly where I reamed them to, that chamber to, because that's something I want to know now. Because when you set back the chamber, or set back a barrel, when you set back a barrel, you basically take a thread's width off the face that butts up against the receiver. So basically it'll turn one clockwise around and further in. And then what you got to do is you got to take a little bit off the bolt face until you get the proper headspace between the bolt face and the, let me make sure I said that right. You got to take a little bit off the barrel face until you get the proper headspace between the barrel face and the bolt face. And that's what I done when I did this. That's a lot of little skimming, put it together, test it, take it back apart, take a little more off. Now once I got it, the headspace right, and it's been a long time ago, so I don't remember how I done it, but I want to say that I used a piece of fresh brass. Now if it's like this brass here, I might have screwed up. I don't know. That's one of the things you learn, I guess, on when you're gunsmithing. I didn't think about it. But what I done was, when I started reaming the chamber, I'd go in a little bit, test it with a piece of brass until I got that piece of brass, the rim, to touch the barrel face, and that's where I quit reaming it at. Problem is, I didn't think about it back then. Was that piece of brass oversized, you know, or was it fire formed brass? I don't remember. So I want to see where that datum line is in this chamber now. So we're not going to size these. Now, some people go, you got to, blah, 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 to make sure the neck tension is right. Well, we're shooting cast. they're already sized down to hold a 312 bullet. I don't have any rifle 312s, but I do have a 312 for my 32 H&R, and none of them will go in, so they're all tight. So that means we need to expand these out. So what we're going to use is the Lee universal expander, which is this. It comes with these two, but this only flares it. It doesn't expand the actual case open. So you go to NOE, you can get expanders, and they look something like this. Now I've opted to make my own, as most people would have figured that out, but we're going to set this up to expand them for the bullets that we have already sized at 314. And what I've made that expander to is 312. So, alright, first thing we're going to do, set up, obviously the Lee 4-die kit comes with a sizing die, which we're not going to set up this time. We'll set it up after we fire form these things. Comes with a factory crimp die, which we're not even going to use. We're not going to do any crimping on it. Bullet seater, and this bullet seater does not crimp. It's a seating die only. So we're going to set that up. We're going to set the flaring tool up. Well, we'll do the flaring tool first. So let's get that set up. We're going to go down and almost touch it. We're not going to touch it. Right there, it's touching it. Back off about 2 rounds. Lock it down. Now, one of the things I did on the dies that came with the set is I've changed them out for the Lee positive lock with a set screw in it. I'm not a big fan of the ones that don't have this, any kind of a set screw on it. They get moved too easy. Once you lock that ring down, it ain't moving. Okay, so let's get this comparator thingy off of here. Now, one of the ways that I'll do it is I measure this OD. You can set the 0 if you want, or you can just remember the number. And I'm going to watch that very edge when it starts to expand out. We are way already over. So we got to back this thing out. Way out. Screwed up one case already. Back this thing way out. I know something else I need to do too. I got a little bit of graphite here. Let me back up before we do this here. This brass that I bought is PPU brass. It has one heck of a lip on this outside. So I had to use my deburring tool. I just deburred the inside real good, and then a quick turn, a couple turns around the OD, but it's got a huge burr on it. If I kept doing that till that burr was gone, I'd have a knife edge up here. So let me show you kind of what I did if I can get it in the camera here. 'Cause I kind of did it like this. Get this one edge almost flush, a little bit of an angle, and I'd go around it until I got that burr off of there. Go ahead and do this since we're going to need it now. It took me quite a bit to get all these ready. All right. Oh, that's the wrong one. I got a little bit of powdered graphite over here. We expanded it by 2.5 just on the opening the case itself up. Oh yeah, heck, boy, we hit that right on the money right off the bat. Perfect. Maybe a little bit too much. This be okay. So we'll back this up a little bit more. That'll be our dummy round. Let's try another one. Alright, let's just make another check here. Yep, still 0. Might have backed it up too much. Yeah, we backed it up a little too much. There we go. That's showing about 5 or so. Yep, that's perfect now. So we got that set up. Where am I at? See, right here. Okay. So let's take our dummy one. They said this die is supposed to be non-crimping. So I'm going to go down and touch it. I don't like touching and going another quarter turn like some of them say. I don't like that. I just want to make sure I take all the slack up. I think I got it about. Right about there. Let me get the little wrenchy thing here and see if I can tighten her up anymore. I can feel just a little bit of like cam kind of, even though this doesn't cam over really. Alright. So we got that where we want it. They say it's not touching that at all. We may end up having to use the flaring since this doesn't, or not flaring, but crimping time, but since this doesn't crimp at all, we have to mash it back down a little bit. Alright, let's try the seat. Alright, didn't touch it, so let's screw this down until we touch. There, we almost got it in there by hand. Getting close. There's no no data on this bullet in the 303. So we're just gonna wing it. That's 2 inches 5/20. I don't think I'm quite in there where I want it to be yet. Let me get my magnifying glass. I can't see, I'm old. Where'd my magnifying glass go? As usual, can't find something. No, that's right where we want it. That's where we want it. We're going to go with that. Or say we're going to do that. 2 inches 5/20. I think they say on this the max is 2.95. So we're way under. 2 inches 950, and we are at 2 inches. Boy, that is way different. Do have this? Oh, never mind. I don't have a C right out. Man, I did a video on measuring, right? 854. 2 inches, 854. Need my pencil. .854. And we're starting out with what would I say? 1.822 on the datum. I went on the Sammy, and I've been printing off all the calibers that I reload for. I hadn't got it together yet, but I'm going to put them all, I'm going to punch holes in it and put it in a binder so I can keep up with them, make notes on it whenever I need to. Alright, I guess the next thing will be plenty of room. Plenty of room. Let me go in here and dummy around, no primer. Okay. Okay, one of the things about, let me take it back out. One of the things about the 303 British is, or the Lee Enfield, is it cocks as you're pushing the bolt in. See that cocking it right there? I don't know if I can see it on the camera or not, but that's when it cocks. If you take and hold your finger down on the trigger, then it won't cock it. There's literally no pressure on the bolt closing. So let's see if it'll chamber. So there it went. No marks on it, so It is not touching the lens in there. Nope, don't see a mark on it. Looks good to me. I think we got us a dummy round. Dies are set, or at least those two are. Well, I know what the problem was. I forgot to tell you. Said I forgot about that crimp. I bet you that's why it was a little tough. See, I filmed my mistakes. So let's get the factory crimp die out, and all we're going to do is just make sure that that neck is straight up and down. Screw it a little tight there. Alright, there it's touching it right there. Give it about a quarter of a turn. See what it looks like. Let's see nothing. Just measure it and see what it does. See if it's still got any flare on it. I don't see any. What I think I'm going to do another quarter turn. I like to be able to see inside of that thing too when it's what it's actually doing. Yeah, it's touching it. Alright, that's all we're going to do to it. Let's try it again. See if it'll go in easier this time. Yep, it went in easier that time. And throw it on the ground. What an idiot. I'm just an idiot. Alright. Alright, that's it. Dies are set. Except for the size of the die, we'll do that next time. Next video, we're going to prime them and put some powder in them. We got to determine what we're going to put in it. I mean, I'm going to use Trail Boss. Going to determine what max load is, and we'll back it off by 70%, like the Hodgins website says on Trail Boss. And we're just going to go out and fire form all 25 of these. All right, thanks for watching.